What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Sid B, and today we are doing Ozark Season 4, Part 2. Spoiler free, no spoilers here. You don't got to worry about that. But I'm going to try and get right into the video because right now it's storming outside, and if you hear thunder or if you see lightning, that's what it is. So, yeah, man, I'm going to try and jump right into it because I don't want no problems with my PC. None whatsoever. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and start off by saying that I enjoyed this season, and I would say if you combine part 1 and part 2 as a whole, which is what you should do, season 4 is a really good season as a standalone season. Now, as a season finale, I can't necessarily say that. So there are a couple issues that I have with the show, but there are a couple things that I really enjoy, man. And one of those things being is Ruth. Ruth is the MVP of this. I can't say the entire show, but this season, 100%, man. There was really only 2 characters that I really enjoyed throughout the entire show. One being Marty, 2 being Ruth. I used to like Jonah, but Jonah been on some other stuff lately, and had to write him off the list. If you count Ben from season 3, the uncle, he's tight. I rock with him heavy. Dope character. He left his stamp on this show, and you see that in season 4, which is something that I enjoy. But yeah, man, the MVP is Ruth for me, and that was that whole little mini arc to start off the season with her and kind of deal with how she's dealing with the emotions and everything that happened with part 1 of season 4, how that part ended. Yeah, man, that I love seeing the outcome from Wyatt and Darlene. Well, mostly Wyatt, of course, but I like seeing her go through that and kind of see how she's dealing with it. And once she started bumping that Illmatic, my nigga, I already know what time it was. I already knew a lot of people wouldn't know about that at all. But hey, sleep is the cousin of death, man. Sleep is the cousin of death. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed Ruth this season. I can't necessarily say that she's a good actress or great actress, but she plays this role very well, man. I really enjoy seeing her as this character. That's my old lady. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. That's my shout right there. Anyways, yeah, man, I really enjoyed Ruth because it's just, I would say part 2 strayed away from what I thought this season was, or what this show was, I should say. And Ruth kind of gave me a reminder of what I thought the show was about, which is why I really enjoy it so much. But yeah, man, that's one of the few things that I really enjoy about part 2 of this season. But like I said, there are big issues with this, and one of them being, is I already mentioned, this show is not what I thought it was, like, at all. Because there are things in this show that they touch on that you'll expect them to address or go in depth with, and I feel like it feels like they stopped caring in part 2 of this show. To me, it felt like they didn't wrap things up good enough. I didn't feel the urgency in this season 4 part 2 finale. I really didn't see the urgency outside of that mini arc. That's when I felt like, okay, we here now. Because you know when that score starts playing, yeah, man, I really didn't get that urgency throughout this entire season. I just got it at the beginning of it, and that's an issue for me because that's one of the things that I enjoy about Ozark is the suspense factor that it builds. I didn't feel the stakes in this show as much as I did in previous seasons. Um, there are moments though. There are moments. I will give it that, but like I said, it just felt like they didn't care as much, and they did a poor job of wrapping things up. And you know when it's not gonna do that. Like there's a part in the show where you're gonna be like, hey, why we not addressing why we not addressing this? And it happens for like 3 episodes and they don't address it. And I'm like, yeah, it's no way. It's no way. So yeah, it's pretty obvious, but well, maybe it's not obvious, but I definitely, it stuck out like a sore thumb for me. And that's a problem, because if you don't feel that urgency and the stakes of a drama show or a suspense show, that's a problem, man. And it's just not what I expected this show to be. Because one of the things that I wanted them to go more in depth on was the kind of the thing that they brought up with Marty and Wendy. With, I can't say that they didn't bring it up, but I wanted them to go more in depth on how those two are at odds. And I think it was season 2, whatever this the background is, that whenever they kind of started clashing, when Marty and Wendy started clashing, that was kind of like the peak of this show and the whole Dark Knight thing, where unstoppable force meets immovable object. And I wanted them to go more in depth with those two ideals clashing. I can't say that they didn't go into that they didn't get into it, but like I said, this is the season finale, and I need you to give me more. That's why I say, as a standalone season, this is a good season. But as a finale, a season finale, nah, it don't cut it for me. For me, at least. That's all I can say, man. But I really needed more of that, because that is the meat and bones of the show to me, with those two, Marty being the immovable object for me, and Wendy, this evil, hateful bitch. Nigga, I hate that hoe. I really dislike Wendy in the show. She's one of the worst characters. I can't say she's the worst character because she's useful and she has a purpose in the show. So I can't say she's the worst, but I dislike her the most. I will say that. It might be tied with Jonah, because Jonah, he's, oh my goodness, how the mighty have fallen. Like he was top 3 for me. Jonah was top 3, because once he started learning how to launder money by himself, I was like, oh, this nigga gonna be tight. He gonna be that dude. But he's drawn astray. But yeah, man, I really wanted them to touch on that whole aspect of those two clashing. And you get it throughout the show, but you don't get it as much as you would hope for, because that's when you get the better dialogue in the show, when you hear those two ideals and kind of seeing what's best for their family. Yeah, that's what I enjoy about this season. That's one of the things I enjoy most about this season, or the entire show, I should say. But yeah, man, that's one of the things I really have an issue on. Another thing is they introduce a character in the second part of season 4. Someone we've never met before, but they're supposed to be a top character in the show. But we just met them in season 4. That's a problem. That's a big problem for me. And I can't say I have too much of an issue with it because it makes sense. But for me, it goes back to what I'm saying about, as a finale, man, we don't have time for this. Like, this is not why I'm here. And it's something that stuck out. That's like, bro, what are we doing? Get to the meat and bones. I need the potatoes. I need the steak. That's what I want. But I'm not getting that throughout half of the season. And it's supposed to be the last season, but y'all giving me sides, my nigga. Like, what we doing out here? But yeah, man, that was something I had an issue with. And the purpose that the character served, it was just poorly executed, man. It was poor execution on how, like, things was obvious. Like, I don't know if it was, I don't know if they was trying to make it like a mystery or something. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it wasn't a mystery at all. Like, it's obvious what's going on. But yeah, man, I don't like that at all. But I can see why people enjoy this show as a whole. But as for me, I'm still gonna recommend this show. But I can't really. It's not in the top tier. Like for me, it's not. It's not up there with the tops. It's not up there with the Game of Thrones, with the Breaking Bads. It's not in that echelon for me. For me, I'm gonna go ahead and say I thought it had the potential, keyword potential, to be better than Breaking Bad. I only say that because if you go back and watch Breaking Bad, it's a lot of, what's the right word? Cheesy. It's a lot of cheesy things. I'm not sure if that's the best word for it, but it's a lot of things that it's like, bro, what? But it makes sense. Don't get it twisted. Breaking Bad is one of the tops. You can argue it is the top, but for me, it's Game of Thrones. But that's a whole nother story for another day. Yeah. What was that? Oh, the cheesiness factor. Like when he gets the hat, oh, now I'm Heisenberg. That whole, my nigga. Once again, the execution on that portion of it with the whole hat when he changed personalities and stuff like that, that's something I have an issue with, just because I felt like it could have been done better. It really sticks out once you go back and watch Breaking Bad. But that's not to take away from it. But the only reason I say that is because I felt like they did a great job of depicting Walter White and Heisenberg between Marty and Wendy. I feel like those two, one was Heisenberg. We already know who's Heisenberg in this case, the evil. Anyways, Wendy would be Heisenberg and Marty would be Walt. And I felt like that was something that was more believable when they have they're two opposites, but they have the same. You would think that they have the same goal throughout this show. And anyways, I just felt like they had the opportunity to build on that or play more into it. And that's why I was saying you want to get more into that, because that's, for me, that's the highlight of this show, man. And I don't get that enough throughout this season. There are a couple moments where you get it and it's very enjoyable and the dialogue is great. I can't say great, but it's on par to what this show is. And yeah, man, I enjoyed that portion of it. But for me, as a season finale, it don't cut it. But as a standout season, this probably like a B plus, maybe A minus season. As a standalone now, like if this was season 4 of 6 seasons, then yes, okay, A minus, maybe B plus. But once you factor in that this is supposed to be the last season and they don't wrap things up well enough, and it feels like they don't care about a lot of main parts of the show, is really disappointing. And that drops it to a C. I'm going to just give it a plain out C for me. It did enough for me to get excitement. It served its purpose, but nothing really stood out as a whole. Like throughout the show, it wasn't, or throughout this season, I should say, it didn't really stand out that much for me. It wasn't consistent, but there are moments where, yeah, I rock with this, but that's not enough for me. I'd probably give it a C plus. But yeah, man, if you combine season 4, part 1 and part 2, I'll probably give it a C plus only because it was some really good moments, but they just did enough to where they passed for me, and that's not special. So there you go, man. C plus for me as a whole. Um, I want to say some more things on that issue, but we're gonna leave it there, man. Um, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Till next time, we out.